It is the morning of June 24th, 1976. Leonard Crowdog, the Sioux medicine man, is on bail, awaiting a court decision that could place him in prison for 8 years. This is his story, the story of a day, a time, a people, and a vision.
Grandfather was a sacred altar. Grandfather was a sacred way of living. Grandfather, being an Indian, being a red nation, teach my Indian people, the nation, the sacred way of our Indian forefathers, grandfather. Let us live and let us understand. And let us, our knowledge grows from you, grandmother. Hi-ya! Hi-ya! Hi-ya!
The land called Rosebud, ancestral home of the Brule tribe of the Great Sioux Nation. "85 years ago, Leonard's grandfather came to this place. He had spent a lifetime teaching his people the sacred ways, and for this was imprisoned by the whites. Chankpeopi, Wounded Knee, 300 women and children massacred, his religion banned. If there was to be a hope, it could only be in hiding the ways of his people. He came here."
I'm Crowdog the third and Crowdog the fourth and five. So that picture I saw you with a man, a pipe in the hand, and he P-E-A-C-E. He won peace.
Indians call the Crow Dogs traditionals. They are the keepers, the holders of all that is and once was sacred to the Sioux.
With the American Indian way of doing things, we have the sacred pipe. This is the red nation I'm sitting with. This is the sacred power, and this is the sacred way of our Indian people.
Since the first Crow Dogs settled this place, Leonard's family has kept the promise made long ago to keep the traditional ways. Their land has remained a sanctuary, a sacred place where the traditional language, religion, and culture could be practiced and passed on to the next generation.
Leonard became a medicine man at the age of 13 and 14, right in there. There was a day that they wanted to practice doing a sweat lodge. And continuously for about 4 days they have done sweat lodge. And there was a day in the evening, towards evening, he came home and spoke to my mother. Said, "Mom, somebody spoke to me, somebody talked to me." But somehow it came to me and told me to perform a place where I have to communicate with them. So my mother said, "My son, that's sacred."
To traditional people, Leonard's voices were a sign that the Great Spirit had marked him for a higher calling. Leonard's father called the old medicine men, Good Lance, White Lance, and Lance, the last of those who had lived before the white man, to prepare him, to make him ready for the day when he would speak to the spirits. At 14, when Leonard began a journey no white man has ever seen, songs, ceremonies, rituals, the secret heart of a culture carried in hushed tones of its oldest survivors, Pejuta, Uwipi, Wakan, Tukanchila, links to a world almost forgotten, all to prepare him for the most important time of his life, the time of Homblacia, the time of the vision quest.
September. So now it's ready, he said, so you fill the pipe, he said. So I'll take you up to the hill and dream you, he said. I will take you up to the hill.
On the sacred hill of his people, they gave him a pipe, wrapped him in a star quilt, and put him in the Mother Earth, alone. He prayed for a vision.
But you have trying to seek the vision, he said. The power is already in you, he said. Then he said, look towards south. So I looked towards south. Then another world that I seen many, many teepees, many, many horses. I see the smoke. I see all the dry meat. These are the people that used to be here in this planet. This power is going to be, it belongs to your grandfather, he said. But now it's going to belong to you, he said. You must teach your people, he said, and you must protect your people, he said.
Hey, yo, wanna, hey, nay. Yana, yana, wanna, yo. Ah, yana, hey, yo, wanna, hey, nay.
There's no turning back from a vision. To pray for a vision is to let the grandfather decide the future. Yet how was Leonard to teach the ways of a people hidden for 85 years? The old medicine men, white lands, good lands and lands, they took him, teaching him. We are the last, you must remember this. They told Leonard of a time long before the coming of the white man when the Sioux were a nation. You are the last, you must remember this. Chengpeopi, Wounded Knee, 300 women and children massacred. Your grandfather was there. Crow Dog was there with Kicking Bear, dancing and praying. You are the last. You must remember them. They told him of his grandfather hiding sacred ways of missionaries, broken treaties, his nation's hoop shattered, the people in despair. And as Leonard grew to manhood, he came to realize that he was alone, the last living link.
The sacred purification, grandfather. You are the son of this whole universe, grandfather. You are the great creator, the fire, the water, the stone. The sacred thing, grandfather, I ask you to bless us, take care of us, grandfather. In a sacred way, grandfather, I ask you.
The ways of the traditional have been practiced for generations, yet in the last 85 years, those ways have been challenged.
Well, since I was a spiritual man, how did the knowledge grow into Crow Dog?
The world in which Leonard grew to manhood was a world in transition. The last of those who knew the old ways were dying. Leonard's friends were being shipped hundreds of miles to boarding schools. A way of life was ending. Hiding Leonard from missionaries and truant officers, the old medicine men took him far into the back country, desperately teaching him the old ways.
And there was a big circle, the old thing, the ghost song. And they had some shirts that they made out of canvas issued to them. Fringes, and they made fringes and painted them up. And I remember on the back, there was a star and a half moon pinned on each one. One morning, we heard the gunfire. Everybody come out to teepees, run around. We heard the gunfire rifles. Every once in a while, you hear cannon. They had Gatling guns them days, and they took a shot at it. Killed everybody. Man, all following and cheering everybody. And the overnight froze up, you know. And the hitch mule teams, they throw them in the wagon, and they dig a long trench, they throw them in and cover up. That's why they wouldn't need battlefield, they call it.
Mr. Whiteman knows he could treat us like a dog. He could kill a dog. He could kill a bird. A bird can do nothing, so just fly around. So you could kill him. Now Mr. Whiteman been treat us like that.
In the time since Wounded Knee, the traditionals, land, language, and religion were all banned. In the late 50s, the policy of the government of the United States was called termination. It was the last step in assimilating the Indian into the mainstream of American life.
Yeah, I thought everybody going to be on equal ways, but it don't some way it don't turn out that way. But my wishing and my belief, if all the American Indians been stand together, they all know what's Indian culture is. So we're all going to be equal.
For 10 years, Leonard will try to find a way to teach his generation the sacred ways. It was in the late 60s they came. Young Indians from the urban centers of Denver, Detroit, and Minneapolis. They came from prisons, universities, ghettos, all hoping to find an identity that their parents had lost.
People in this world, they're always searching, it seems, for something to give their life meaning. All the time they're saying to themselves, there must be more to life. All that time that I had been in conflict in my mind what the American Indian people needed, I had it all the answer in me all that time. And all they needed was the tradition and not conflicting with the white man world.
But the days of sitting bull and crazy horse are long gone, and the Indians the city dwellers found were not the same as those told about in the legend and song.
Well, you know, you can't turn back the page. It's time. But we're making many changes. You can't go back to the old ways. No way.
It's been 85 years since Crow Dog took the nation's fire into hiding. 85 years. Yet during that time, the traditional has fallen victim to a greater horror than the massacre of women and children, a horror of the spirit. Starved into submission, with his religion banned, the traditional fell victim to the missionaries' claims of salvation, government officials' promises of welfare. Those who remained suffered the barbs of backwardness, turning their anger into violence, alcoholism, and despair.
We all must be going through some kind of punishment right now for some kind of wrong that we've done. Because right now, this is hell.
85 years. If you can't go back to the old ways, and if going the way of the white man means only parading on weekends for tourists, what's there left to being an Indian? Since Wounded Knee, the American Indian has lived between two worlds, caught in a cultural no man's land that was not of his making. It's more than statistics. It's the helplessness of having no hope. together for many reasons. The need to find themselves, the need to fight injustice, but they came together. And Leonard becomes a bridge between the old and the new, the young and the old. Together they form a movement, AIM, the American Indian Movement.
We're standing on the earth now, see? That's our grandmother, that's our earth now. That's our body there. So when we stand on our body, do we have the voice of rights? American Indian Movement is not an organization that was born or reincarnation yesterday. American Indian Movement was here. Crazy Horse is the American Indian Movement. Crazy Horse is the one.
March 1972. A Sioux man is forced to dance naked at an American Legion party. But when he's found dead in the trunk of a Legionnaire's car and is described as a boyish prank, Indians from all over the country, Crow Dog and his pipe amongst them, protest at the trial. It's the first time in 85 years that a Sioux has stood up to a white man.
The time has come when the Indian must fight, when the Indian must stand up for himself. Where the Indian couldn't stand up for himself, that's where the movement should come in, because after all, the Indian is a human being too.
I'm sure there is some place in this Western Hemisphere there is a good white man in this world, which the cells is still awake. In wakeness and injustice.
January 1973, a Sioux named Wesley Bad Heart Bull is killed by a white man. And AIM begins a series of protests against towns bordering on the reservation.
We're not going to let up on any of these towns for one day. We said that we would keep up the action and keep those people from sleeping at night. That's what we're going to do.
Traditionals believe in cycles and generations. With all roads blocked and federal charges of riot, there was no choice.
Half-moon
They
circle.
would stand at Wounded Knee.
You guys are going to have to get behind. There's more room over here.
2 hands, 4 hands on the pipes. Our grandfather's days, that time we don't have such a thing, 1973. Them years, them centuries, those life. But today, under this peace pipe, I'll initiate the nation. Decide tonight if you want to dance with me tomorrow. Nobody can stop us. We're in Wounded Knee, and all around is a white man. We're going to get killed. If we're going to die here, we're going to die here. But if we die, we're going to be buried at Wounded Knee. Leonard right over there.
Oh, yeah.
You are the last. You must remember them. A people's fear, a secret dream, a nation reborn in a hoop at Wounded Knee. The siege of Wounded Knee will last for 71 days. 2 Indians will die. The government will call it the actions of a small extremist minority. The press will pay lip service to the Indian problem. But Wounded Knee will raise questions for Indian people, questions that have lain dormant for decades.
The water bird is display to drink water. And the forefathers told us that this is very sacred to us.
Is that a good sign?
That's a good sign.
Very good sign.
What do you think about that water bird? Good.
They'll come to South Dakota to find the answers.
My knowledge is 8-track. So I could switch on this side and talk about a spiritual thing, talk about the government side, and talk about the generation, and talk about the medicine man, and talk about the spiritual part. And how about the birth of this control of this universe? So you are the people. I'm out with you. I'm free. Okay, you people, come down to your act and bring your answers to me now.
A lot of us younger people, we heard you, I mean, we come to try and, some of us still know our language,
Yeah.
And we're trying to maintain this religion that we have because it's real,
It's very important.
Yeah. And, I don't know, just, we finally get a hold of a person that could finally show us the way that we need to survive.
As me, as a medicine man and a spiritual man, I'm going to give you that knowledge, in which I'm just interpreting the spiritual method that I'm going to interpret to you. Then the knowledge will grow in you. Then your generation, all of a sudden, your generation is going to speak the Sioux language, or your generation will speak your tribe language. So reborn, you might say reincarnation, re-elevate your mind and your spirit back to your Indian people. We are called American Indians, but we are the plain, the red nation. We are the red nation that live here in this Western Hemisphere.
The buffalo is gone. We know that. Everybody knows it. But we're going to take what is left right now in this society, and we're going to turn it into an Indian society.
You got to think of mankind, not only the Indian people, but for everybody, for your, the generations to come.
Maybe there is a generation that's going to live in this world. Maybe it's our generation.
A medicine man is more than a religious leader. He is responsible for bringing his generation to the traditional ways. Armed not with bullets, but with the power of the past, Leonard began reviving ceremonies long dead, teaching his people the ways of their ancestors, the ways of a nation.
The medicine people and the traditional people and the headman and the chiefs, which now I will not call a warrior, but the hunters. The hunters used to hunt the buffaloes, but now we don't have no buffaloes. Now we have hunting, the last of our rights is hunting our Indian power and our Indian language.
To build a nation requires more than symbols. People's lives, thoughts, actions must be linked to the knowledge passed from generation to generation.
The knowledge grows into us. The knowledge is born in us. We are the living generation. We are the example of our Indian people.
If everything belongs to the Great Spirit and to the Mother Earth, then the only thing you have to offer as a prayer is your body. The Sundance preaches this way.
We are nation in this Western Hemisphere. That's why each tribe have his own language, and each tribe have his own way of worshiping.
In 6 months, AIM has challenged the effect of 85 years of forced assimilation. Survival schools teach young Indians their native tongue. Treaty councils petition for land and water rights. In January 1974, AIM tries to restore traditional government by running Russell Means for tribal chairman.
I have dedicated my life to getting our treaty rights because we are a nation. We are not a reservation any longer.
He is opposed by Richard Wilson.
And if you think the federal government's going to listen to one long-haired bandit, well, I think you're wrong. The guy belongs in jail.
If Indian people do not attain true sovereignty, true independence, that we as a people will be slowly strangled to death, and that in effect we will become red white people. We'll become what the white man has forced the black man to become.
When I win, that will, to me, be a mandate from the Oglala people. And I think that probably I'll run AIM clear off this reservation. I got no business here harassing. They have nothing to offer if I'm reelected.
Wilson will win by 200 votes. It will take the United States Civil Rights Commission over a year to determine 18 violations.
Right now we're witnessing cultural genocide. You see, physical genocide, as we know, happened when the Europeans first got here. Okay, that did not wipe us out. We're still here. We've been practicing our religion, our culture. The cultural genocide, if it is allowed to take place with the Indian, then all other cultures that are now in existence, and there's only a few in the world, will cease to exist.
Do you people outside the world, my Indian people, do you see it that way? Or are you all blindfolded and hard-hearing?
True to his word, Wilson's first act is to place on the government payroll muscle men called the Goon Squad, whose sole responsibility is to drive AIM off the reservation, initiating a reign of terror unlike any known in America. In 1 year, there will be 23 violent deaths. Fear and violence terrorize the people. In March, a white drifter arrives at Leonard's claiming that the Great Spirit had sent him. He will later be given immunity from criminal prosecution, claiming that he was assaulted by Leonard.
We better put this man in a penitentiary so he could conquer the whole language, and we could conquer the whole Indian. We already control it, so let's conquer their mind of spirit. So they're not gonna talk about spiritual things.
In June of 1975, a government postal inspector testifies that a concealed pistol was taken from him at Wounded Knee. When Leonard is identified as having been in the same room, Leonard is found guilty of interference with a federal officer.
And the rehearing is denied. And the grand jury investigations are denied. The whole investigation of grand jury hearings, only 15 minutes to hear what is Indian problem in the Indian reservation, is denied. Totally federal government is trying to kill. He's killing me now.
In 85 years, the government has broken the unity of Indian people. Chankpeopi, Wounded Knee, 300 ghost dancers massacred, their religion banned. For there to be hope, it can only be in restoring the ways of the people.
Look back to that time and look towards this time. Which are the ways that you're going to take your people? Sacred and spirit, take the message back and teach your people the sacred of the ghost. Teach your people in a sacred way, sacred way, sacred way.
In the spring, Leonard took that power, once more gathering all the tribes. Navajo, Cheyenne, Arapaho, all came together in unity. All came together to ghost dance.
This is where I want to be, right here. This feeling. It's there. Look at the eagles. Eagles? You know watch there. Did they really? Yeah, they're eagles. Did they ever do that for you? No. See? Eagles. Oh, look at the head. Look at the head part. So that's where the ghost dance has been brought. So you could see to understand today, no other human being can change the Indian life. We was born to be a red man, and we was born to know these things.
This is the United States Marshals. This is the FBI. Come out or we'll shoot. About 185, close to 200 of them. They came in blazers, choppers, about at least 16 FBI cars.
Past midnight, two drunks in a car had crashed through the gates on Leonard's property. AIM guards had disarmed them and taken them to tribal court. Although one of the intruders had a long criminal record and would later be convicted of murder, it's Leonard that the FBI has come to get.
But I said, what do you have this gun for? We don't kill nobody here. You want Leonard, you want my son to be in jail.
They were all over the hills, all surrounding us. You could see them coming in the trees. They were, that door, they broke it in. And they broke that window when they came to my baby. Pedro was sleeping there, and I said, is that kid that was born in Wounded Knee? And they picked him, they threw the covers off and went from his sound sleep, and they threw him across the room. He hit his head on the wall. Two FBI's put the two M16s at my head. I went through an M16 at my foot. I was standing there, put M16 at my foot, and they said, take it.
So after my boy was gone, I don't know what to say, and I don't know I could depend on. Lonesome, crying, but I still pray with the pipe. I'm Indian. I'm still praying with the pipe all around. making ties. I'm Indian. And I said, I told the spirit with the pipe, I want my son to come back over here. And I want to see him. And I want him to come in here when he come back in this house, because I raised him in here.
He's a healer, he's a spiritual leader, he's a medicine man, he's all the knowledge is built into him. And without him, it's really hard to go on. There's medicine men around that could take care of certain things for certain people. But Leonard takes care of all things for all people. To pray for a nation is something hard to do. You can't forget about your people. As long as your people are suffering, you suffer with them.
In 3 months, Leonard has spent time in 11 prisons. He has lost both assault cases, and with the charges from Wounded Knee, he now faces a total prison term of 8 years.
Leonard, you are? Yes, there is. It's in my name and there's somebody. Leonard, how are you?
Oh, there's no question that Leonard has become the focal point. More so, I think, than other leadership, because he represents spiritual leadership. And it's very reminiscent of the ghost dance period when Wovoka and other holy men were persecuted unmercifully because the thought was that the power resides in the spirituality and that anyone who interprets or articulates that spirituality is going to be persecuted. And so Leonard has been brutally assaulted by the federal authorities. Not only the absolute fabrication with reference to the Wounded Knee charges, the postal inspector's situation, but also the so-called assault charges on Rosebud, which have been virtually recanted by the people involved, and yet given extensive sentences to Leonard, so that he's been immobilized.
The government, in its great power to prosecute people, has the power to choose whom it will prosecute. For every felon who comes to court, there are probably 100 who are plea bargained out before they ever get to court. There are probably another 1,000 who are never even brought up on charges because the evidence is too thin or the effort otherwise is not worth the candle. And one has to ask the question, why Leonard?
You push them off the land because of human greed, and then you fight every attempt, even though you may not think it will succeed, every attempt to resuscitate themselves and come back in some form and make demands that we all know are totally justified. I guess you hate the people the most who make the most justifiable demands because they go to the heart of our psyche. We know they're right, and therefore you have to destroy them if you can. And I think a lot of people are really worried about justified Indian claims to land, to resources, and so on. But I guess they're most afraid of the fact that the claims are morally right. And when you're confronted with a moral imperative against an immoral imperative on your part, you've got to hate the people who assert that moral imperative. And I think there is a hatred now of it that goes back into a psychological hatred that is probably beyond my ability to really diagnose or analyze, but I think that is part of the essential problem with the Native American. We hate them because their claims are totally justified, and we know it.
On March 26, bail of $25,000 is posted, and Leonard is released pending the appeals of his cases.
holding this feather like this, these are bars. These are bars. I'm looking through there. My call is something like a government. He likes to say it loud, and he likes to say, once you teach him something, he said it back and forth over and over. So since I was an Indian, and I'm talking about grandfather and all this, they realized, hey, this man is bringing about Indian people back together again. They might say, well, the only place we couldn't kill him, so let's put him in a penitentiary.
There is no turning back from a vision. And if the path of politics and protest leads only to despair, there is a greater power.
The time that they arrest me, the time when I was in the 7 days, in 7 hours, in handcuffs, I was a medicine man. I was not a militant. But I got to be now. I got to stand on my spiritual foundation. The United States government must recognize our Indian religion.
On bail, facing 8 years in the penitentiary, Leonard decides to travel to the world of the white man, preaching respect for the power of vision begun on a hill long ago.
One day I said, I have choice. I have choice to my people, which way I'm going to live. So I said, I'm going to take it the Indian way. Anyway, I'm crazy enough, but I never was in a white man's school. Or I never lied to no other country. I never signed no treaty. Or I never was baptized. But all the things that my forefathers that went through, that I'm coming through, 200 years now. I used to wear the moccasins. Now I'm wearing this. It is hard to walk on that. That don't mean it was a concrete. No. It was injustice. Wall-wide juries don't know, even know about the Indian power. Don't even know about the medicine. Don't even know about this spiritual power. Still, they found me guilty.
Leonard's cases have drawn international attention. The World Council of Churches holds fundraisers and press conferences. Amnesty International petitions for his release. And a team of top civil rights lawyers work day and night on the appeals of his cases.
But you are the people that's going to support the United States. You are the people your penny's going to go there. You are the man that's going to be putting the next president there. And the American Indians going to be standing there with open hands and mouth wide open and getting murdered and killed every day. So, which I do not know what I'm going to do tomorrow, what the government's going to do to me tomorrow. Maybe he's going to put me in a penitentiary.
It is the evening of June 24th, 1976. 85 years ago, Leonard's grandfather came to this place.
I said, this will be my fire here. This will be my home here. This water will never be end. And this eagle will always going to be fly through here. think it's the old one.
What's the letter then?
It says that the petition for a rehearing of the trial on the Wounded Knee charges has been denied.
Today, since I was a spiritual leader of the American Indians, to represent my Indian people in a way of worshiping the great Creator. This is the Indian church that you are in here now. The temple of the great Creator, temple of the Western Hemisphere, temple of the Earth Maker that created the church. This is the Indian church that's been given to the Indian people, generation to generation. But today of our generation, the injustices that happened to the American Indians, this religion must be recognized. Indian religion must be recognized by the United States government. The religions that have been created by the Great Spirit we still have. So we're going to fill the pipe. Grandfather, this is how I pray to you, Grandfather. I ask you, so I could be with my people, Grandfather. In the future, Grandfather, I'm going into another trial, Grandfather. Hearing trials, Grandfather. Don't let me be in a penitentiary, Grandfather. My Indian people need me, Grandfather. Oh. My Indian people, these Indian old ways, I want my Indian people to learn these ways, Grandfather. I ask you. These are very sacred to me, Grandfather. I do want not to do this, but again, Grandfather, what I represent, the white America must understand, Grandfather. Grandfather, when I was in the penitentiary, I need these things, Grandfather. I told you when I was in the penitentiary, take me back to my home so I could teach my Indian people, Grandfather. I say these things to you, Grandfather. I ask you, Grandfather, many ways of our life, Grandfather, I ask you. Today, bless us, take care of us. Grandfather, I ask you, bless my drummer, Grandfather, my brother here. Tie this drum. Let him learn this good drum, Grandfather. Teach him the ways, Grandfather. And my nephew's going to take care of the cedar, and my nephew's going to take care of the fire for us, Grandfather. And the moon, Grandfather, generation. Many Indian people prayed here, Grandfather. Our forefathers, the moccasins, our grandfather's moccasins trails are still here, Grandfather. Let these moccasins to be recognized by the United States government, Grandfather. Let me be free, Grandfather. Let me be free so I could teach my Indian people these old Indian ways, Grandfather. The fire, our grandfather's fire, the teepee, the log, Grandfather. Let me help me so I could be with my family and I could be with my people, Grandfather. So I could be teacher, Grandfather. I could be the great spirit, your Messiah, Grandfather. Grandfather, I ask you, Grandfather, with this sacred tobacco that you create, your creations, Grandfather, and your staff, your designs, your drum, Grandfather, these are the grandfather's ways, Grandfather. We're not selling you, Grandfather. We are standing for you, Grandfather. I'm speaking for you. I'm speaking for your rights, Grandfather. You're our oldest grandfather that I have to depend on, Grandfather. You're my lawyer, Grandfather. Peyote, you're my lawyer. Peace Pipe, you're my lawyer, Grandfather. Bless this home here, this home here, Grandfather, which we call Crow Dog's Paradise, Grandfather. Let us be together, Grandfather. Let the white America to understand so I could be with my people. I'm going to blow this whistle, Grandfather, towards east, Grandfather. years ago, Crow Dog and his people, this is their valley. And when you come up to this hill, many of the sacred ways of our Indian people are very sacred, he said. And our generation is very sacred, he said. But grandfather always see, he said. Grandfather always point towards a great creator. How are you going to see grandfather pointing the great creator? He said, you will see the shadow of your grandfather, and you could see it today. The shadow, the sun reflect, you could see. That's how they call it. This grandfather is pointing towards the great creator, and the great creator is the maker of this world.
On June 25th, 1976, Leonard makes the journey from Rosebud to Deadwood, South Dakota, where he was placed in the same jail that 85 years ago held his grandfather.
Stay with us now for Soccer Made in Germany. And
just style him in front of that camera.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. Get over there, Earl. Let him show you what he's doing.
Definitely.
I do?
Yeah. Come all the way up. So indirect. And focus. The muffler's about gone, but it's still.
Okay.
Get them back out. These are not bad drops. See this mount here, that thing there. These two mounts here.
Wow, I'm getting...
Two U-joints here. And if you do all the white, and the whole thing comes out, and you can see it.
You're on camera. Panic camera. Turn on the DVD. Yeah, look. Go ahead. Films. Nothing. Nervous as look.
Damn.
You picking my voice up?
Gotta get away from that base. Yeah.
Man. Let me get behind the camera. Five. Look at the count.
Oh. Yeah, huh? I'm getting that, like a trail in there.
I'm sorry, my car.
And I want to know why.
Did you find that film, man? What's that? You find that film?
No, not now. When I...
It won't happen again.
Candy bars for everybody.
Is it really? Let me have one then.
What you using, a slug or something?
Kathy. I'm doing this because I'm going to be going back to Utah in February, and I'm going to be taping the dances and everything over there. For your information,
I'll take some cookies.
I'm going to be going to Utah in February, and they're going to be 2 weeks of Indian Week at the BYU, and I'm going to be taping everything over there.
Shit, I had that. 20.
How about you? You up there by yourself?
Yeah.
Oreo.
Oreo cookies are very fine. And here we have these students eating their lunch.
Wow.
You want to?
This is Mrs. Gina Van Fleet right here at the switchboard, and Ellen Alvarez over there doing her typing, burning up the typewriter, as they say, in the world of secretarial work.
To us.
Who?
Ellen.
Show us some of your things. Did you find the schedule? Did you run some off for me already?
No, did you want me to write some off?
Yeah, I want you to run off about...
Let's get a side shot of Gina working there.
Okay. Okay, so right now... What are you supposed to do there, Gina? I mean, on the board itself. Could you kind of plug in some lines and tell us what you're doing?
Yeah. These two lines are gone. One, on the right is all the in calls, all the
moving the
offices.
wrong one.
And on the left is, oh man, I don't know what to do. I can't. Is the outside lines where the outside calls come in. So I'm not.
Okay, if you had to plug into somebody here in the building, how would you go about doing that? From an outside line?
Just like this, how it is.
Okay. I want to check out the body though, so I don't want to do, huh?
Hurry up, Frankie. Okay. Good.
Shall we go in and shoot Mabel? Is she in there? And this is Mrs. Alvarez, the receptionist. At 7 o'clock. You gonna be there? You have to be there. I want everybody there by 7.
Oh, all of a sudden now when I'm not right up to Carol. Okay. Wait a minute. We can hold on? Okay, yeah.
I know, but I would
Lauren,
just
somebody
say
should get me some.
for the field trip, you know, like just to go out there, you know,
Yeah,
it wouldn't
my
be just
mom's
going
just
out there to
been
mess
dying
around.
for
you
that
know,
since she came
like
back,
we can show
and
you different
nobody's
things
had
that
any.
seaweed that the you know, us kind of Indians, you know, kind of food we get from the ocean, you know, like, you know.
What do you get besides seaweed?
You can get mussels and kelp and mule ass.
Carol probably don't understand. She probably think you're being wise.
I'm not Carol, but they call it that.
It's a sea salt. You ever go to the ocean and see that thing
Those sea anemones. You know those anemones? Yeah. We call them mule dogs. And they eat snails, those big snails out of there. They're not real big, but
I've never ate one.
I did before when I was little.
The ones that squirt purple juice?
Purple juice?
Yeah. When they get afraid, they squirt out purple juice.
Oh, that's an octopus or a squid. No. This grows on rocks.
This is a slug.
It's like an ant. Sea
anemone.
Yeah.
Oh, if you see an anemone, slap them.
Let's talk about Yakima now, the education.
Oh, there ain't nothing going on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what are your
dead.
Dead?
Plenty going on.
Not enough organization. That's the
Not enough
whole
leadership.
thing.
You feel that the training you get is going to help you get a job?
Not so far, because I haven't learned anything since Not until we talked to Carol the other day. Now we got her in the classroom all the time.
Talked to her, from what I heard, you guys jumped her.
No!
I heard it was a nasty scene. That's what Carol told me.
Oh, listen.
What'd you say?
We didn't jump you, did we?
No.
Did we?
What about the past programs they've had on here?
I don't think they were any good because I see the same people out here that I did about 3 years ago for a training.
They're still out here looking for training? Do you know
Like
any
Robbie,
people at all like that?
your brother, and Ben.
And you, apparently, you're back out
But I wasn't out here for a training. I was going to school out here, trying to get my GED. You weren't doing anything, were you?
I was in too. I was in the first program they ever had here. I was an assistant instructor.
Who was that? So you see, he was from the first program, so...
You know, they never accomplished anything because Lawrence is still here. He's still walking the halls.
That's true. Although I was in the programs, I was also more involved in helping them try to get different programs set up and trying to help them. That's why I'm still here.
That's good. That's what they need. They need different programs.
Because I've seen 3 directors go through it, and I know down there as much as any one of them ever did go about it.
Why don't you run for director? Well, if you can get somebody, find out about it.
Some of the programs here, you said you don't think were beneficial to anybody. The one that they had here, the last one they completed was the Hewlett Packard electronics training. Okay, we've got 8 people that are working that way from that class.